Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So my name is Akonde Eniola and welcome to today's tutorial. So today's tutorial is going to be the part 2 of the peplum laptop we made earlier in the first tutorial. So this tutorial is about the cutting of the sleeve and the cutting of the peplum. So thank you once again and let's get started.
Okay, so welcome once again for joining me on this short tutorial. In order to know how to cut your 720-degree flare, first thing you need to know your calculations. Okay, so now the calculation in order to get the radius of the flare is half of your waist measurement. Like once you have your waist measurement around the waist circumference, you get half of it, and once you got that half, we are going to divide the half by 6.28. How did we get that 6.28? We multiplied 2 by pi, by the value of pi. That is how we got 6.28. Okay, so you get half of your waist circumference divided by 6.28, and mine is 2.9. Okay, so now in order to learn how to fold your fabric, you want to know what I did. I folded the fabric in two, like so, and I folded it using the length of my peplum plus that waist circumference radius I got. My radius is 2.9 and the length of my peplum is 11 inches. Okay, so 2.9 plus 11 inches is 13.9. Okay, so if you look at this, I have 13.9 here with me. So now that is how I got the width. Okay, the length of this thing. So now how I got the length here from here to here, how I got it is like so. From here, that 13.9, I measured from here to here, I marked 13.9, and from there again I also measured 13.9. It's just like a way of saying 13.9, you multiply that in 2 and that will give you your full length here. Because so when you fold it in half like so, you have your value. Okay, so because we are going to be making the 720 degree in two places, that's front and back, and the front I was even going to divide that because it's wrapped up. Okay, so if you look at this now, can you see this? I have my 13.9, and if you go ahead and do it at this, like this point here, 13.9. So this is a method, a very simple and easy method of cutting a 720 degree flares. Okay, so at the top here, I'll come here and mark my 2.9. I'll mark my 2.9. I'll also mark my 2.9. Okay, I just have to be going around in order to make my circle. Now from here, I'll be marking my peplum length.
The worst part is you're innocent. In all of this, I was just calling quits. You were giving me all that I could need, I was missing it. Now I'm all alone, going through our old messages.
So this is the length of my peplum, and I've gone ahead to cut it down. And while cutting the length, I made sure to add half inch because I'm going to be turning it with either a lining or a bias. I added half inch. Okay, so now I can go ahead and cut. This down part, but at the up part as well, we'll be leaving half inch allowance at this upper parts, at this radius part as well. So that we'll be able to use to join with our half length. Okay, so this is the back of our. Okay, I was looking at it now, I realized I've made a mistake, and the mistake here is that I did not add my joining allowance. Because the 720 degree flare we are making has a joining of front and back, I didn't add the allowance in the calculation. That's why I said I made a mistake. But it is totally, I can remedy the situation. I have a solution for that situation. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and cut on edge. Okay, and this is going to be this is what the back is going to look like. Okay, so now in order to get a solution for the problem the mistake we just made, now we're going to make the circle back, and this is what we'll do. Okay, so I folded it back into the way it was. So now the problem and mistake we made at the first place was the joining allowance was not added. Okay, so now on the half length we have when it was folded we have a joining allowance of 1 inch. If you open it, that's a joining allowance of 2 inches. Okay, so now we're going to have to add that 2 inches into here. Now what we do, the joining allowance is 2 inches. Now the waist circumference is 36. That's what we cut before. So now we're going to add 2 inches to 36. So that is 38. Now 38, we're going to be dividing that by, dividing 38 by 2 inch, we'll be dividing 38 in 2 in order to get half of 38. Okay, 38 divided by 2 in order to get half of 38. Okay, so the 38 divided by 2 is 19. Now that 19 we have to divide it by 6.28. And when we divide 19 by 6. I don't know, hope you guys are paying close attention, because at the beginning of this tutorial I told you the formula, which is half of your waist circumference now divided by 6.28. How we got that 6.28 is multiplying the pi by 2. Okay, so that's how we got the 6.28. Okay, so now that is the formula. So now our half of our waist circumference plus our seam allowance is 19 inches. Okay, so that 19 inches is, you divide that by 6.28, and that is left with 3. Once it's approximated, it was 3.025, but because of it's 0 immediately after the point, it has been approximated all the way to 3 inches. Okay, so now to solve this problem we have here, if we had added that 3 inches to our 11 inches length, okay, if we had added that 3 inches to our 11 inches length, we'll be having 11, that will be having 14.9. Okay, we're having 14 inches. Okay, so now this is our mark of our 2.9. Once we place our tape there at the 2.9, as you can see, the difference isn't that much. So because our measurement says 3 inches, now 3 inches, 2.9 and 3 inches isn't that far off. As you can see, that we can still remedy the situation. So all you just have to do is cut the circle a little bit. That the little bit is like an 8 inches. An 8, or is it 1? It's not 1/8, it's just 1/8 of an inch or quarter of an inch, sort of what you're gonna have to cut out of it. For me, I'll be leaving it as such because I can still cut it. I can still sew it directly like that. So now let's measure what the circle has. Let's measure the radius of the circle here. Okay, so we don't have 19 here, which is wrong. Okay, so we have to cut it. We're going to have to cut it out now. I'm just trying to piece back this circle together so we can cut it. Okay, so I've pieced it back, and to cut now, so now we have to cut out this 1/2 inch we have here. Okay, so in order for us to check out what we have there on the circle again, we have to measure what we have round, and we have 5 inches. 5 inches, because it's folded in 4, in 2 places is 10, in another 2 places is 20. Okay, so this is even more than we need. So that was what I was telling you, that if you had cut, what you can do is, if you make a mistake like mine, you are going to just have to cut like between 1/8 of an inch and between 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. But if your mistake is a little bit bigger, you can now be increasing it. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Okay, so right now we've rectified the mistakes we made. So now the mistake we made, now the only problem I can say that was affected after we've rectified it was just the length of the peplum, but that is not an issue. Okay, so yeah, so just always make sure you double check your measurement before cutting. Okay, so you know the front of the front half length is much than the back half length. You ask why the front waist width is much. Look at this. This is the back. Okay, this is the back pattern, and this is the midpoint of the back. From here to here, as you can see, here is wider. Here is much more wider than from here to here. This is because of the extra allowance we added for the wrap. Okay, so now this extra allowance we added for the wrap You know, if the allowance was not here, this wrap allowance was not here, if it was not here, we would just have our normal waist being 9 inches. Is that not so? And our circle and our flare, our flare calculation waist radius is 9 inches. So what I did is, this flare I cut for the back, I placed it on top two materials together. This is it, right? So now the remaining allowance here, which is 5 inches, the remaining allowance here is 5 inches, right? So now this 5 inches, after placing the back flare on this two new piece of fabric, I was trying to distribute this 5 inches between both sides. I don't know if you get what I mean. Okay, I was trying to distribute the 5 inches between both sides. So I now extended this. I divided the 5 inches by 2, that is 2.5. This is this. I now extended from this part, like from here to here, by 2.5 inches. Okay, on both sides though, not only on one side, on both sides. After extending it on both sides, I now went ahead to, check out my measurement if it's correct. And to check it out, you just go ahead and curve your tape measurement to check out the formula to see if it's correct. And honestly, as you can see, this is correct. Okay, so this is what I'll be cutting out now. I'll be cutting out this now out, because this is the radius, the circle radius. The reason you are saying this one like this one that is shorter than this, is because my material was not enough at this place. But don't worry, if yours is enough, this length is what you should have. Okay, so I've cut out that now. So this is my back circle and this is my front circle. So now to test out our theory, I will take one of the fronts, right, and place it on. Can you all see? It's a bit long, but just a little bit, which is something that can be amended and adjusted. This method I use, it will make sure that the flare, the degree of flare on the back is the same thing as, is the same degree of flare that we're going to find in the front, in the two sides of the front. So I don't know if you grab what I'm talking about. Okay, so can you see? This is a perfect fit. There's nothing to complain about. Can you all see? This is perfect. You see? So this is what I'm talking about. The degree of this flare now is the same degree as the degree at the back. That's the fullness is what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this is how you cut a circle flare for a wrap top. Okay, I hope I was clear enough. And if I wasn't clear, and if you have any questions, please place that in the comment section, and please like, share, and follow for more. Subscribe for more videos like. We're going to be learning how to cut a bishop sleeve, a very, very okay bishop sleeve that you can use on a peplum top or a gown, So yeah, this is that all-purpose bishop sleeve. Okay, so to start with, we'll get our starting line and we'll mark the length of our sleeve. I'll be using a length 24. I'm using a length 24 for my sleeve. So I'm just going ahead to mark my sleeve length. And connect it all together. Okay, now after connecting, from our starting point, you mark our sleeve crown measurements. Now, because some people do not know how to get their correct sleeve crown measurements, I'm going to be uploading a sleeve pattern tutorial in our upcoming and next video. It doesn't really have to be next, but maybe an upcoming video I'll be uploading a sleeve pattern tutorial. Okay, so this is my sleeve crown now. That's my cap height, also known as sleeve crown. So yeah, this is it. So now on the sleeve crown or cap height, I'll be marking my armhole measurement or my armhole length, which is 9 inches in my case. So after marking 9 inches, the way I make my own sleeve is like this. So I'll connect to this top here. So after connecting like so, I'll measure what I have, which I have 10/1/8 in total. And to divide that, I'll divide that into 4, no, into 2, like so. So dividing that into 2, I'll come here and come up by 1/2 inch. I have different methods of making my videos, my sleeve, but because this is not really a detailed sleeves tutorial, I'll just be going with a normal basic sleeve. I came up by 1/2 inch, okay, and coming down to this place, I'll be coming down by 1/2 inch. This 1/2 inch I'll be coming down is for the front sleeve, okay. Now at this front part, I'll be going up by 3/4 inches. Sorry, no, not 1/2 inch. I ought to be coming up by 3/4 inch. And at this place, I'll come in by 3/8 inches for the back as well. So now, for us to know the width of our fabric, for you guys to know how I got this width here, which is what you can apply in your case as well. I love making patterns whereby that the measurements I'll be using, I love to say it out for people to be able to get that exact same fit, so that if you're making yours, you should try out using the measurements and your measurements, you incorporate it both together, you get that fit. I love doing that, okay. So now, how I got my width is my own armhole, that is my own sleeve, sleeve round. And when I mean sleeve round, that's your bicep, right? The measurement there, which mine in my own case is 9 inches. I'll measure it down, right? I'll measure it down and add between 5 to 6 inches. But I'll be adding 5 inches then my seam allowance. Okay, I don't know if that is clear to you. So yes, that is how I'm going to get this. That's how I got the fullness you see in the thumbnail. Okay, so now this is my sleeve length, it's being 24, right? So I'm going to be connecting them together. I'll connect this thing together like so. After connecting together, I will come to the edge here. I'll come here and come up by 1.5. After coming up by 1.5, I'm going to connect it like a circle straight to the sleeve length, like so. And I will blend and I'll add my seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch seam allowance to the side, and we're good to go. So all we just have to do now is to cut out the pattern. Okay, so this is how I cut out my pattern. So because I did not, I'm cutting directly on my fabric, and this is my sleeve length. I'm going to be adding, because it has an elastic, so we need something to encase it with, right? You can either use a bias, or you use a, what's it called, you either use a bias or you fold it in. Okay, sometimes I just love to fold it in, so I'll be folding it in with 1/2 inch. That is the allowance I'm adding to the bottom of my sleeve length, and this is my seam allowance. Okay, so now coming to the top of our sleeve, the 1/2 inch you used to join the sleeve to the half length, you have to add it, because this is we're cutting on the fabric and not, we're cutting on fabric and not on pattern paper. So you just have to add every seam allowance that you're using. Okay, so for us to know the back and the front, you see this is what I'm doing right now. This is the front. This is the front sleeve, and this is the back sleeve. Okay, so this is how our bishop sleeve looks like. When I'm sewing it, I'm just going to show you what I do and how to do it. Okay, so thank you once again for coming to my channel, and see you in the next part. Okay, so to start with the sleeve, I'll go ahead and fold. This is the bottom, this is the hem of the sleeve. Now I'll be folding it like so. Make a small folding and turn it. This is for the elastic casing. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take that to my machine.
worst part is you're innocent. In all of this, I was just calling quits. You were giving me all that I could need, I was missing it.
Okay,
Now I'm
so
all alone,
I've gone
thinking
ahead
about
to
all
fold
the
and hem
messages.
the
I'm getting it.
sleeve.
Lately I'm the one
Okay,
getting burned, it
so
don't
this
feel
is,
right
I'll go
till
ahead
it's
and do that for the other
burning
sleeve now.
you.
Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew both sleeves. That's, I've gone ahead to hem the ends of both sleeves. Okay, you asked how I measured, how I got this length. I did like this because on a normal note, if you are not using an elastic, you would have had to measure, yeah, your fist round, but because it's an elastic, it has to stretch. It's stretching, so you put it around your sleeve like so, and you draw it just a bit, like just a bit, just a bit. Let it not be really too big, so that it holds firm on your wrist and doesn't be falling off. Okay, so this is what I have here. Okay, I will cut. So now we have two for it. Okay, so to start with, I'll place my office pin like so and close, and yeah. Okay, so I've gone ahead to stitch it down. This is what it looks like from the outside. As you can see, it is so clean. So if I put my hand in there, see how it just balances. If I just raise it up like so, okay, so yeah, so I'll go ahead and do the second one off camera. So now taking the half length, that's the top. Okay, we'll join the shoulders of both sides together now. So this is me just trying to sew the shoulders together. Okay, gone ahead to join the shoulders. So you do that for the other side as well. So after doing that for the other side, you open up the two the two half length, the front and back. So this is the midpoint. You take the midpoint of your sleeve, taking the midpoint of my sleeve, I'll join right side facing right sides together and pin together. Right sides facing right sides, and then I pin. After pinning, I'll sew the sleeve on one end to the other end. So I've sewed one side of the sleeve together. I'll go ahead and do the other side. So after joining the sleeve to the half length to the top, after joining the sleeve to the top, I'll go ahead and from sleeve I'll go ahead and run a stitch down all the way to the hem of the top. Okay, so yeah, so we finished joining one end of the top. So this is how this end looks like. This is how it looks like. I'm not sure if you are getting the beauty of the top from the video, but you will see it at the end. Shall see the beauty at the end. So that is how it looks like. then you go ahead and do the other side. Okay, so after you've fixed the two sleeves, after you fix the two sleeves to the bodies, right? What is this? After you have fixed the two sleeves to the bodies, what we'll be doing now is to do this. We're going to be fixing the peplum. So I've gone ahead to join it now. Okay, I've joined my flare to my bodies. So this is the back and this is the front. Then you now go ahead and join the sides together. Now, because it's a wrap top, we have to have an opening at the joining side here, at the side seam joining, in order for the belt to be able to go in. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so for the strap, that is for the belt, right? Moving on to cutting the belt. I already cut because it's going to be two belts, one for each side of the top. So this, I already cut out this, so I'm going to show you how I cut this out. I wanted to use length 42, but because my material, I don't know if you can see this one, because my material wasn't as much, I ended up going with length 40 by 5 inches. Can you see? This is length 40, okay, and the width is 5 inches. 5 inches because the width we're using is 4 inches. Then half on each side to join it. So when you fold it in like this, you stitch with 1/2 inch. That will now, when you open, that will become 2 inches. Okay, so this belt is for one side and this is for the other side. So now to sew, I'll go ahead and fold like so. To stitch the belt, I'll go ahead and fold like so, and I'll go ahead and use my machine and run it like so, making a sort of like, okay, and I'll run the side as well like so. So I'll stitch it like so and all the way to the end of the fabric. Then I will turn it inside out. So this place that is closed off will be the end, and while here is what we're going to be joining to the top. Okay, so yeah, thank you once again for joining me here on the channel. So stick around to watch the end of the video. And for the belt, I didn't show how I sewed it, but it's very easy. But you saw how I cut out the belt. I have not ironed it, so it's looking a bit like this, like pop off. But when I iron it, you're going to see the beauty of it. Okay, so yeah, this hole here, I'm going to show you how I made this hole. I've already sealed this side. Okay, I've already sealed it, I've sewn it, so but I left a hole here which is going to be used for bringing out the belt when fitting it. So now this is the other side. You go ahead and sew the other side as well, but as you can see, I'm not done with the other side. Let me just adjust the video. I'm not done sewing the other side. This is it. This is the front peplum and this is the back peplum. I'm not done sewing it, as you can see. So I want to show you how you're going to leave the measurement you need when leaving your space for these belt loop parts. Okay, so go inside the dress. This is inside the dress. Okay, so checking your tape measure, you see this joining from the bodies to the peplum, from the bodies to the flare. We're going to, from that point there, that's where we stitched on, going upward, we're going to be measuring 1.5 inches. Okay, so can you see my 1.5 is on that stitch? So I'll go ahead and mark that 1.5 inch. So that 1.5 inch now, where I'm going to continue my stitch all the way to this point I marked, and I'm going to double stitch on it so it doesn't lose, for it to be firm. So yeah, okay, so
Okay, so I'm going to stitch it all the way to this yellow 1.5 mark now with mark here. Then I'm going to double stitch it as well. And after doing that, all the way from this mark, from this joining here, that's the joining of the bodice to the flare, I'm going to start sewing the down. I'm going to start sewing it from there. That is because I'm trying to join here. I'm joining the, what do you call it, I'm joining the flare and I'm joining the front and the back together. Okay, so I don't know if you understand, and I'm using a 1-inch joining because that was the allowance I added on my stitching, for my stitching. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm not sure if you can see. So you see that gap, and it's a 1.5-inch allowance gap. So when you go outside, go to the right side of the material, you can see it's not showing that there's a hole, but you see the hole there. Okay, so yeah, now so this is for the belt. You took the belt in from inside, and yeah. So now let us fix the belt. We're going to be taking the ends of the belt where we want to fix it, right? The ends of the belt, and like this. You see the at this point, this is the front now. I'm not, because I'm not on a table, so it's not going to be as clear, but I'm trying to making it clear and detailed as possible. You see this place here. You see this joining here between the bodice and the circle flare here, right here at this part, like this on it. Okay, so and we're going to be stitching on it. If you want to ask how the belt was placed, I'm placing the belt now. I'm placing the belt on top the peplum. That's it's not getting to the, it didn't touch the circle flare, but from this joining here it's going upwards. That's how the peplum, that's how I'm sewing it. Okay, so can you all see that? And I'll go ahead using my 1/2 inch. Okay, as you can see, this is what the belt looks like. This is how it will look like. The belt is not ironed now, so that's why it's looking this puffy, but I'm still going to iron it. So after doing this, we'll go ahead and do this for the other side as well. Okay, so yeah, okay, lovely. So I've gone ahead and sewed the other side as well. So that is all the belts are in place now. So what's left for us is to place a bias tape all over the neckline edges and the bottom. I'm not going to be folding my flare, but I'll be placing a bias tape on it. And for beginners that do not know what is a bias tape or what's called a bias tape, this is what's a bias tape. Recently, I just bought it for $2.50. So I do not know how much it's being sold, but that's in your area. But this is a bias tape, and I'm going to be using a black. I'm going to be using a black color because yeah. So now, in order to place the bias tape round, right? So what I'll be doing is this. I'll be placing the bias from one end of the circle and all through the neckline and to the other side of the circle. So this is what it looks like. And yeah, so like this, I'll open the bias up and just
stitch it. So yeah, watch me stitching. So this is the end of the other side of the peplum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be notching this side where we have the belt and the joint, because here is a bit thick. I'll be notching it. Okay, and so the next thing is to fold inwards, and yeah, and just stitch it. Honestly, if you prefer to use, if you do not prefer using the bias, you can use a lining to turn everything, and you won't have this sort of bias look at the back. But I just sort of I'm using this bias, so yeah, it all depends on our preference. So now when it comes to the belt parts, in order to fix the belt part, you're going to separate the belt from the bodice, and folding this, folding the bias and stitch. Like, so this is what it looks like. This is the peplum, the neckline. Can you see how neat it is? And when you've ironed, when we've pressed it, it's going to be even neater. Okay, so we are almost done here. All that's left to do is to hem the inside, because my fabric is to serge the inside, because my fabric is fraying, and I'm just going to hem the down. So before I go ahead and hem the down, I'm going to have to serge the inside, or overlock or weave the inside round. Okay, so this is what the inside of the flare looks like. This is the belt part, and this is how neat it is. It is so neat. So it's also important to be able to make your work neat. Okay, this is how neat it is. So I use a bias to turn the inside. This is how the circle looks like. It looks like this. Can you see how neat it is? Okay, can you see how neat it is? Okay, so thank you once again for joining me here on my channel, and stay tuned. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and you know, hit on the notification bell to get notified on when I upload new tutorials. Okay, so yeah, thank you.